it's time to get a smile on our face because Dr. Joe's on board with us. Dr. Joe Congini, Sports Medicine Center at Akron Children's Hospital, gives us his unique take on the world of sports medicine. Joe, thanks for joining us again. What do you have for us?
Hey, Ray. Good to talk to you this morning. What a beautiful week we've had. And for these spring sport athletes coming down the stretch, I'm so thrilled they're having some really good weather to compete in and have fun in. But one thing, this is pretty amazing that we need to talk about, and that, I think it's gotten by my talking about it in the last few years. When you've been on for a long time, you cover a lot of topics. I know we covered it long ago in the past, but it's fallen between the cracks a little, this is the time, yes, to think about the sports physical. And I want to talk about the sports physical because there have been big recommendations that came down in the last few years. I'm not sure we highlighted them enough. So with the sports physical, Ray, so we're talking for the sports year 2023, 2024. Yeah, now is the ideal time to be thinking about scheduling appointments to have that physical done. You have 2 or 2.5 months until August. Everybody waits till August. Things are backed up. There's not people to be seen in August. So end of May, June, July, 2.5 months, no excuses not to get it set up. The major changes kind of came down in 2018, 2019. New guidelines came out, Ray, in those 2 years. And they came out mostly around the entire country, but definitely in Ohio. And we're strongly supported by the Ohio High School Athletic Association Joint Advisory Committee for Sports that I'm on. The Ohio State Medical Association Sports Committee came out and agreed with these guidelines that were national. But it was lost, I think, a little bit in COVID. And really the biggest change, Ray, is that it's a strong recommendation that these be done in the medical home. What that means is at a primary care doctor's office that knows the athlete. So they really strongly recommended to move away from the mass physicals that we knew, you and I knew for years, 20 years, 25 years. These things fell into the sports medicine realm, and people would go out, and one person would listen to your heart, and one person would check your knee. And the mass physical was not the ideal way to check kids and get them ready for upcoming sports seasons. There's several reasons for that, but the COVID thing kind of really moved things along very quickly because the mass physicals really were banned totally from being done during 2020 and 2021. And when we came out of that, a lot more people did a good job last year of getting into a primary care doctor for this physical. So there's a few reasons why, Ray, that these strong recommendations were made. I want to let people know what were these bodies thinking when they came up with this. Number one, continuity. The same person knowing you and seeing you on a yearly basis is the ideal way to take care of kids. Number two is the record keeping. So the record keeping certainly wasn't very good in mass physicals. Where's that phone number? What medicine were they on? These mass physicals did not do a good job in keeping records. Thirdly, it wasn't ideal for privacy, and that was very clear during COVID with long lines of kids in the gym waiting to be seen and working through that. And so privacy wasn't ideal, and there wasn't as good a sharing of the record-keeping information. 75% of what we pick up at the physical is picked up from the questions we ask, the history, and so privacy wasn't good. And this is something that's needed to be done by the primary doc, a full comprehensive exam yearly. So now the recommendation is to roll the sports physical into the comprehensive yearly examination. And so one of my concerns was so many people would come in. 70% of kids and athletes would say, hey, this is our only time we see a medical person all year long. We don't have a primary care doc. Well, we have plenty of time, 2.5 months now, and there are so many good pediatricians, primary medical doctors. We have a huge network at Children's called ACHIP, where there are, throughout the region, many great pediatricians waiting to see the kids and do a comprehensive exam. So there's really no excuse for that. And there's one final point I want to make. Many important things that were discussed to cover in these new guidelines. Number one, everybody always thinks about the screening for life-threatening issues, and that's true. And so screening for heat, head, heart, the things that can be really devastating and even, life-threatening, especially with heart. It might be the only time of year you get a blood pressure check. Somebody listens to your heart. Do they have a new murmur? Do they have passing out episodes? That's a big red flag that athletes sometimes have. We don't want to have a Damar Hamlin in the middle of October, and so we're trying to find these when we can. Not always can they be picked up on exam, but at least we have a fighting chance on the exam if you get that done every year. You know, my cardiologist down at Children's would say the other half of the equation of why we're doing better is there's AEDs now all over the place. So between a good exam and an AED, we're saving more life. Number two, it's a great time to work on musculoskeletal deficits. So if you have a shoulder, an ankle, a knee that you injured during the season, summer's a great time through rehab at the school or PT rehab to get that better. Number three is know what medicines, talking about nutrition, talking about supplements athletes take. This is great, well done in a comprehensive exam in the primary medical office. And if it's done in the next month or two, we have 6 weeks to address any medical issues. Somebody will go in and get picked up with a hernia. Oh, my gosh, we have to do something about it. If we pick it up in June, we have a chance to have them ready for the 2023-24 season. If they wait too long, those things aren't going to be able to be done. So I wanted you to know that there were new guidelines. They kind of got lost in the COVID period, but I think they're good. I think requiring that these be done in a primary care office, what's known in medicine as the medical home, were good guidelines.
Yeah, and Joe, I think word of caution and what you started out with, we have time to get these scheduled with these physicals, but they fill up quickly. And I think what Joe is saying, get them scheduled now. They're good for 12 months. And with your doctor and everything, those schedules fill up in a hurry.
Thank you so much for highlighting that, because all these doctors come to me in August and say, tell your athletes to quit bugging us, and we can't get them in now. And now is the time. We've got time right now, 2.5 months. Thanks for highlighting that, Ray. You're exactly right.
All right, my friend. Good information and insight, Joe. Always will enjoy it on the World of Sports Medicine. We'll reconnect again next Wednesday. Thank you for making time for me.
Thanks, Ray.